So hello everybody and welcome to another episode of Lean Business Agility. Today from Johannesburg, South Africa, and we're having a guest, Joanne Perold. Cheers!
Cheers!
Hi Joanne!
Hi Klaus!
Thanks for having some time for me and to talk a little bit about our topic today. So you are a certified Scrum trainer, right?
I am indeed, yes.
Yes, so what do you want to talk about today?
A little bit about Scrum.
That's a perfect idea.
Thank you.
What do you like about Scrum?
There are so many things that I like about Scrum, Klaus. The first thing I love is the iterative and incremental approach. The idea that you want to extract as much learning as fast as possible, and that you want to figure out how to close your feedback loops as fast as you can, so that you know whether you're doing the right thing or whether you're not doing the right thing. I love that about Scrum. The other thing I love about Scrum is I love the team-based approach. So a lot of focus on creating collaborative environments where multiple people are working at solving a single problem. I'm a firm believer that in the world that we live in these days, that problems are better solved with more brains. So the more brains you can have to solve a problem and the more ideas you can add into the problem-solving part of things, the better things go.
I'm asking myself now the question, is Scrum really always the best thing to use? I mean, it sounds totally logical what you just said, right?
Yes.
But can you apply this in each and every environment?
So not always. There are going to be times when Scrum's not going to be the best thing that you want to use. One of the ways when Scrum doesn't work so well is when there's very high variability of work. So when the kinds of work and the rate at which the work comes into any given system is very, very variable. It makes it very difficult to plan for an iteration, and it also doesn't always make sense. So in those sort of environments, when the rate of change and the variability and the rate of work coming into a system is very variable, then I would recommend using something else. And it's actually better to manage the flow of work going through the system in that kind of an environment. When you do Scrum at scale, it becomes really difficult because the complexity increases. When you have more complexity, then you need better alignment. And so Scrum doesn't always have feedback loops for alignment of multiple teams at scale.
Okay.
And so what I find a useful pattern often is if teams create a level of visibility and alignment at a portfolio or program level, where the portfolio or program then feeds into the teams. And using that to feed into the teams and closing the feedback loop around that portfolio level or that program level is a very good pattern that I've seen.
So as a concrete takeaway for our viewers, if they want to become agile, what do they need to do?
The first thing to think about is what is the context that you're working in? What's important, and understanding the context that you're working in so that you can make decisions about what's going to work best for you. In contexts when there's a lot of variability with the rate that work comes into a system, I would say that you would want to have a look at using something like Kanban and having a look at different flight levels. When you're trying to create alignment amongst teams, multiple teams, different Scrum teams, using a portfolio system is a very good way to create that alignment. And so thinking about putting up a portfolio system to create alignment for your teams or to visualize all the work that you have in progress is definitely a great starting point. So you want to visualize your value chain, understand where all the work is, and use that as a way to align the teams and to understand which team is working on which, and allow them to see who's working on what and where their dependencies and interdependencies lie. And that for me is a very, very useful way, creating more flow of work through the system.
When I try to summarize it, there is no one size fits all, and you're allowed to think.
Definitely. Thinking is the most important part.
Perfect. Thanks for your time, Joe, and I see you soon, and cheers with an empty glass. Yeah, we can try it.
And cheers.
Goodbye.
Cheers. Do we have enough wine?
Not sure. Like,
To work together, collaborative problem solving.
That's a good point.